most people would not bear to believe that the practice of stoning still exists in this day and age. And because it's so brutal and haunting, most people don't know the details behind such a barbaric practice. When Ayatollah Khomeini imposed himself as the supreme leader of Iran during the 1979 revolution, he enforced Sharia law as part of Iran's penal code. And one law deals with those who've been convicted of zina, or in other words, illicit sexual activities like adultery. The sentence of such crimes is flogging or stoning. And what stoning is generally the public gathers and throws rocks at the accused until they ultimately die a slow and painful death. And the stoning decree reads like a textbook of rules and regulations. So, for example, they say that the size of the stone can't be too big as to kill the individual immediately, yet it can't be too small that it's not considered a stone. As well as what they do is they wrap the individual in shrouds and they bury the man up until his waist or a woman up until her neck. And the idea is that if the accused is able to free themselves, then it was the will of God and they should be set free. Of course, that means men have more of a chance to face freedom because naturally women are, in their view, the temptresses and, of course, more culpable. The way the rocks are hurled are also set by rules. It's a disgusting way that it has been thought of. And despite this brutality and being condemned by the international community, the practice continues. Human rights activists, international organizations have tried to put a lot of pressure on the regime to put an end to this. And on a couple of occasions, the Iranian government has put a moratorium on the matter to appease its international trade partners, but they've continued to carry out these stonings. For example, while they stated this moratorium in 2002, they carried out a stoning in 2007. Then again, the judiciary recommended to the parliament to pass a bill to put an end to this in 2008. And despite the recommendation, two stonings were carried out the following year. So again, Iran suggested in 2013 that stoning should be taken off the books. Yet, as of 2014, there were 11 individuals who had a death sentence of stoning. And whether these will be carried out is remained to be seen. Now, let's not forget that in this system, a judge does not have to even open a file and read through the evidence and documentation. They can even judge ruled on something called qazi, which means divine knowledge of the judge. And if they believe somebody is guilty, well, they can carry out that sentence. And in the recent history, Iran has carried out the most number of stonings. However, we're seeing a rise in countries like Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan. And while they might not be state-sanctioned or sanctioned by the government, people and rogue groups are carrying out these stonings. They're taking it upon themselves to carry out justice and these kinds of punishments. I remember as recently as of this February, one Afghan woman was stoned to death. And while the Taliban said it was from several years ago, activists have confirmed that it was, in fact, carried out this year. So I would really like to take this opportunity to thank Mina Ahadi and the International Committee Against Executions, the International Committee Against Stonings, for your tireless efforts in condemning this barbaric practice so that we can put an end once and for all.